Many people ask, should a Buddhist monk use the internet? Well, actually, for me, the internet is something that is communication with the rest of the world to share the information that you are doing, the way that you practice, particularly a philosophical point of view. Nowadays, in my opinion, actually, nowadays there's so many people who are interested in the Buddhist philosophy, particularly that meditation and mindfulness. I have met so many people around the world who are really deeply interested in meditation. And I myself has guided so many people who come to stay with me for a week and try to learn meditation, particularly how to be mindful of everyday life. And my interest is this too, because life is, anyway, dissatisfied. People sometimes, I think a few people don't like when you say life is suffering. Some people criticize sharply. They criticize Buddhism sharply because Buddhism said that life is suffering. This word, suffering, is the word that must be very careful when you translate. When you are translated, this word from dukkha. Dukkha is not the word of suffering. Suffering is too much, but dukkha means incompleteness, dissatisfaction. For example, when you feel hot, you would say probably, oh, dukkha, because it's too hot. And when you get sweaty, again, you would say, oh, dukkha, this is because it's sweaty, too much, too hot. And that is dukkha. Dukkha is not a feeling satisfied with a particular situation. This is what really Buddha wanted to mean with the word, by the words of dukkha. But many scholars translated dukkha into suffering. That suffering is too much. When some people were too far away from Buddhism, particularly like the critiques from other religions who are viewing the Buddhism very negatively and pessimistically. And those people can view wrongly, who can view Buddhism wrongly, because they don't have any, serious understanding of Buddhism. And I just want to repeat this word, dukkha. Dukkha shouldn't be translated into the word suffering in English. This is wrong translation. Dukkha, as I said, when you feel cold, is dukkha, we say. So it's dissatisfied. It's dissatisfied with a particular moment, particular situation. This is called dukkha. Like when you feel cold, when you feel sweaty, when you feel hot, when you feel numb, when you feel sleepy, when you feel hungry, when you feel thirsty, these kinds of things are all dukkha. See how many times you feel dukkha in a day. So suffering is something like a bleeding, something injured. This is not the kind that Buddha wanted. Everybody must be very careful the translation of the dukkha, the word, the translation with the, dukkha. Dukkha should not be translated into the word suffering. Everybody must be very careful, because these days there's so many people. Buddhism is going peacefully. It doesn't matter. Buddhism will never try to hijack. Buddhism will never try to terrorize. Buddhism will never train anyone to be terrorist. And Buddhism will never train its people to do a boldly terrorist attack. But Buddhism always tries to train its people how to reduce their greed, hatred, ignorance, delusions, jealousy, all negative emotions, and how to develop the positive quality of human being that the Buddhism trains. It's the people. Buddhism has trained its people how to reduce negative qualities of mind and how to increase, how to develop the positive quality of a human being. That is the Buddhism. And dukkha, I say again, dukkha must not be translated into the word suffering in English. I don't like this translation anymore because it's not equivalent to the word dukkha. Dukkha, as I say, oh, I get it hot, I get it thirsty, I get it hungry, I get it tired, I get it unhappy, I get it jealousy, these kind of dukkha. And when I feel hungry, oh dukkha, I get hungry. When I get a cold, oh dukkha, I get a cold. When I feel thirsty, I'll get dukkha, I get thirsty. So these kind of things are dukkha. So how often do you experience dukkha in a day, even in an hour? Now, when you feel ached, this is dukkha. When you feel numbed, it's a dukkha. When you feel sleepy, this is dukkha. When you feel headache, this is dukkha. When you feel toothache, this is dukkha. When you feel stomach ache, this is dukkha. Oh, this is dukkha, dukkha, dukkha. So how often have you experienced with this word dukkha in your life? Whether you believe in anything, whether you believe in God or not believe in God, you're a believer or non-believer, doesn't matter. The experience of dukkha is the same. Why is, you have to be very careful. I heard very often, some people sharply criticize Buddhism, the word dukkha, because they don't because Buddhism begins with the dukkha. Life is dukkha, life is suffering. That is really wrong. That is really wrong. The Buddha started his teaching to rightly understand things. This is what beginning of the Buddha. To rightly understand things as they are, you have to start practicing moral quality. Second, the quality of concentration. A third, the quality of wisdom. This is what the Buddha wanted. So these days, I want all of the well-educated Buddhist monks, both in Pali and, in the public education and Pali education, secular education and spiritual education, like a big body, like in United States. He became a doctor, a philosopher, PhD philosophy, and he studied Buddhist teaching in Sri Lanka for a long time. He's now at 75 years old now in the United States, teaching many people. I love him very much. I have a great respect to Bhikkhu Bodhi, who has been well trained in the theory and the practice. And these kind of monks need to use internet. Why not? Because internet is nothing for him. He is just using and sharing his understanding of Dharma with the rest of the people around the world. Why not? He should use it. Doesn't matter. He would not try to sit down and just watch a stupid video, and he would not sit down and just watch stupid things. He would not do this. He is 75 years old almost, and now he's living in the United States. He tries to lead this teaching in the United States. He's giving speech in United Nations Waisak ceremony this year in 2017, May 11, and I respect him a lot. And those kind of monks in the world is so many nowadays. They try to share the Dharma with the people. So many people are interested in Dharma and Buddhism, but they don't know which way they have to go. So they need to learn. I am one of them. I just try to share the Dharma understanding with the people who really understand, who really want to do it. When you share the Dharma with the people, you don't blame anyone. You don't try to frighten anyone. You don't share hate with anyone. You share just loving kindness, compassion, understanding, and then the wise way of living. And that why not? You should do. You have to use the internet. So these days, what I want, the modern Buddhist life of Buddhist monk is not easy. A modern Buddhist monk living in the technological age, the age of the technology, you have to keep practicing your meditation, right? You have to share the experience of meditation with the rest of the world who are really, really deeply interested in that meditation. And that meditation results, the benefits are proven by the scientific research in these days. It's really, really, it changes your brain when you practice that meditation deeply. So, you can try to heal yourself. You can try to cure so many psychological problems inside yourself. When your mind is clear, when your mind is healthy, when your mind is fit, and your body becomes fit, your body becomes healthy. So Therefore, modern life of monk is not easy. He has to keep practicing. I'm sure he has practiced meditation. He has to try to share his dharma and experience his meditation with the rest of the world. Without practicing that meditation, life of monk is almost nothing. The meditation is really heavy duty of a monk. He must practice. This is the way that he must do. If he doesn't want to do, if he doesn't want to do the social activity, like, taking care of the orphanages, taking care of the old people house, doesn't matter. Because there's so many people who can do those kind of things. But the meditation is really special professional duty of the monk. The meditation is the really special professional duty of the monk. If you are a monk, you must practice meditation almost every day, almost 24 hours if it is possible, because this is your main job. And then don't keep in yourself. Don't restrict this meditation in yourself. Please try to speak it out and share with the people who are hungry for that your experience, because they are now restless. They don't know where they have to go to find that kind of meditation experiences, or to find that relevant, meditation to up day-to-day life. Therefore, in my opinion, these days, life of Buddhism is not easy. He must use the internet, share the Dharma and experiences of meditation with the rest of the world who really interested in the Buddhist meditation. And so many people believe that Buddhism is like kind of psychotherapy. Buddhist meditations is a kind of a psychotherapy. It can treat so many people who are mentally ill. I believe this. I was once ill, mentally ill, by the attachment to my late mother when I was 8 years old. So this meditation brings me up. This meditation develops right understanding. Therefore, you have to be very careful when you translate Pali word into English. Don't just read in the book. You have to just learn the root of Pali word with someone who really understands the Pali scriptures, Pali language. I respect Bhikkhu Bodhi very much. If you have a time, please watch, look for who Bhikkhu Bodhi is. He is well educated in Pali and also the secular education, spiritual education. He got a PhD degree from philosophy. And he became a monk when he was around 30 years old. So I'm really worried sometimes, to translate the word, but Pali word into English. Now I'm just repeating again. The word dukkha should not be translated into the word is suffering. That is not equivalent. I just heard one man from England. He is changing his religious identity very often from Christian to Islam. Now, when he converted to himself to convert, he was converted to himself to Christian Islam. He criticizes his Christianity. He blames the Christianity. He tries to point to the weakness of the Christianity in Islam, in presence of the Islamic people, the Muslim people. And then he tries to criticize Buddhist teaching. These kind of things are not. He shouldn't do this actually, because it's useless. If he wants to convert, okay, he can convert himself to which kind of religion, doesn't matter. But he shouldn't blame by converting himself to other religious identity. He shouldn't blame the other previous religion that he believes. I don't really agree with that kind of guy who blames. Who blamed the other religion that he believed in that religion before. And now he tries to also criticize. He doesn't like Buddhism because premises of Buddhism is life is suffering. That is wrong. He doesn't understand what Buddhism exactly means. Dukkha doesn't mean suffering. Dukkha doesn't mean suffering. Dukkha is when you feel hard, dukkha. When you feel cold, dukkha. When you feel unhappy, dukkha. When you get tired, dukkha. When you get thirsty, dukkha. When you feel a little bit ached, dukkha. When you feel a little bit painful, dukkha. When you feel headache, dukkha. When you feel, stomach ache, dukkha. When you feel toothache, dukkha. when you feel even numb and aching in all over the body by walking to the mountains or climbing up the mountains, you feel dukkha. When you get sweaty, you feel dukkha. When you feel cold, you feel dukkha. So how have you experienced? Have you been experienced with that kind of dukkha, and even in an hour? So the dukkha, the word dukkha, the quality of a dukkha can be experienced with everyone, without any belief, without believing in Buddhism. So why Buddhism should be criticized? I don't think that Buddhism should be criticized, because the word life is suffering. The Buddha doesn't say life is suffering. The Buddha said life is dissatisfied, life is incomplete, life is, dukkha because of craving, thirsty, and desire, attachment. These kind of things creates a dukkha. This is what dukkha means. So the translation of dukkha should be incompleteness, dissatisfaction. These two words are almost equivalent to the word dukkha. Not suffering. Suffering is too much, really too much. It is pessimistic. So we shouldn't translate dukkha into suffering, but we should translate dukkha into incompleteness or dissatisfaction. That is the way that the Buddha wanted to introduce life is dukkha to the world, to entire humanity. And this dukkha, you cannot be there only in the dukkha by feeling that kind of dukkha permanently. That dukkha itself is impermanent, anicca, right? That dukkha itself is impermanent, anicca, changed rapidly, very often. You cannot control it when you feel a dukkha. Like, for example, when you feel thirsty, when you feel hungry, you feel dukkha. That dukkha is not a permanent. That dukkha can be, can be changed so quickly. So therefore, the Buddha said dukkha and anicca, impermanent nature. Then who creates that hungry? Nobody creates, it comes itself. Who creates thirsty? Nobody creates, it comes itself. Who creates a toothache, headache? It comes itself. Nobody. And you cannot drive it out, you cannot invite them come. So they comes itself, and they come themselves, and they go away themselves. You don't know they go away to where. So therefore, anatta, no self-nature, no nature of self-identity there in the being. This is what the Buddha wanted. If you're wise, if you're really wise and well-educated, please examine. Examine. The Buddha doesn't tell you how to believe in anything. You can believe in whatever you want. The Buddha has nothing to do with the belief of faith. But he always tries to tell us, keeps telling us to see the things rightly as they are, by observing mindfully, by closely observing, by mindfully observing things to understand as they are. This is what the Buddha. So therefore, just how a modern Buddhist monk needs to use the internet purposefully to share the Dharma with the people, to share the right meaning of the Dharma to the people, with the people, right? So there's no need to blame someone who uses the internet. If he's well-educated, and well-practiced, both in theory and in practice of meditation. And those kind of monks should use the internet to share, with the rest of the world. These days, the internet is like a home. Everywhere you are in the connection of the internet. I live in the forest, in the mountains, in Shan State, in Burma. Now I can connect with the world, the rest of the world. You can watch me, what I'm doing. So I'm living in the home of internet. I should use that internet. I can use it, but I have to use with very good discipline. And like my age, I'm busy, my meditation, and I teach my students and guide people who stay with me how to improve, develop the meditation, understand meditation practice, and understand things as they are, how they should try to guide them, how they should live with such a moment, how to live, skillfully. And I'm busy and writing books too. And also, this is the way that I share with the people around the world, if you watch the way that I'm doing. So we are living in the home of the internet, but we should have a goodwill. We should have goodwill to share with the people with a peaceful environment, to keep the world peaceful, So these days, I think a modern Buddhist monk, it's not easy. Modern Buddhist monk must use internet and must keep practicing meditation the rest of his day and the rest of the life and the whole life and every moment mindfully. I do it this meditation even in the toilet, even in the bathroom. I said in the bathroom you can take meditation 20 minutes. In the toilet you can take meditation 5 minutes. In the dining room when you are alone eating, you can take a 20 minutes meditation while eating. So eating, it can be meditating. So if you don't meditate, if you don't know the technique of meditation, how can you do the eating meditation? It's very useful. Normally, I'm crazily running, going away, leaving us alone. Only when we know meditation, that is with us, that doesn't go extreme, that doesn't try to guide us to hate and to, this is what Buddhism is. The Buddhism has never detected any other tribe, nationality, or religion. The Buddhism has never attacked it in history. Buddhism has never trained its people to attack other people in history. It's a very peaceful religion. This is the reason Buddhism is recognized a peaceful religion. And these days, many scientists, many philosophers, many well-educated people, I myself, interested in the Buddha's teaching and the teaching of Dharma and the correct understanding that leads us how we should live happily. This is the way. Therefore, I just want to request again that all the Buddhist monks around the world these days can use internet, because you live in the home of internet, and share the Dharma with the people. When people get refuge into the Dharma, when all the entire humanity get refuge into the Dharma, I believe this world will be peaceful. This world will be absolutely peaceful. Believing in anything. You can believe in Allah, or you can believe in God, or you can believe in Vishnu, Shiva, Mahabrahma. It doesn't matter. But if you get a refuge in the Dharma, understanding, may you yourself be peaceful, and may the world will be peaceful. So these days, all the monks all over the world should use the internet. There's no problem if you just try to share the Dharma and the way that you have practiced with the rest of the friends, carrying them. This is the way that everybody should do it. Thank you for watching me, and this is the way I try to explain to you today. Thank you.